what if I told you that you can actually work in Sweden as a doctor, nurse, or any other healthcare professional in just 5 simple steps? So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how you can apply for a license as a nurse, midwifery, or any other healthcare profession from overseas. Welcome back to my channel. I'm your Brani. Here I share practical tips about traveling, studying, working, and finding opportunities to build a better career abroad. So make sure you subscribe to this channel, join the amazing growing family, so you don't miss any updates whenever I post a new video. So why do so many people actually choose Sweden? Well, Sweden has one of the best healthcare systems in the world. Here, both patients and health workers are really valued. You will be working with modern equipment. The whole environment is very supportive when it comes to teamwork, and they also have a very decent, good work-life balance. In Sweden, you actually get time to live your life outside work. The society is safe, inclusive, and very equal. It doesn't matter your background or gender. So the quality of life here is just amazing, and the healthcare system truly focuses on people's well-being. And another great thing about working in Sweden is the pay and working conditions. They are very good, especially for nurses, midwives, and other healthcare professionals. So you are well respected and your effort is highly recognized. And that's why so many doctors, nurses, and other healthcare workers are choosing Sweden over many European countries. So now let's get into the application process. So to begin the process, you use the link in the description below, and when the page appears, you will pick your profession. So whether you're a doctor, you're a nurse, a dietitian, or any other healthcare professional, the process is the same for everyone. So in our illustration, we will be choosing nurse responsible for general care. So where did you obtain your basic education? And there are 4 options in this section. In Sweden, within EU or EEA, outside EU and EEA, and I've been working in a profession with a license in an EU or EEA country for at least 3 years. So since we are applying from overseas, we will select outside EU and EEA. We click on apply for your license. And you can see there are 5 steps involved in this application. You need to have your education assessed, you take a proficiency test, you take a course in Swedish laws and regulations, and undergo clinical training. And lastly, you pay and send your application. The point is you don't need to know Swedish to have your education assessed, and that's only required for the first step. However, from step 2 to 5, you must be able to speak and understand Swedish. And you are required to submit a proof of your language skill no later than when you apply for your license. That means you still have enough time to learn Swedish before reaching the final stage of getting your license. So while waiting for the education, you can still practice a healthcare profession that does not require a license, for example, a dental nurse or a pharmaceutical technician. So let's get into step 1, that's the assessment of your education. So before you can work in Sweden, your degree needs to be checked and approved, and this is done through Sweden's National Board of Health and Welfare. So this process is called Socialstyrelsen in Swedish. You will need to complete an application form and submit a few documents. That's your passport, your diploma certificates, and a list of the courses that you study. So maybe if you ever change your name for any reason, you need to include an official proof or an official document to back that. And if your document isn't in English or Swedish, then it must be translated and verified before you submit them. So you have the link that leads you to download the application form. You also have your email address. You can send everything either by post or by email. The email should be in PDF format. So that's the email address and the post address to send your documents through. But the good news is this assessment is free of charge. But keep in mind that could change later, so it's better to do it yourself. So usually this process takes about 3 to 4 months to get your results. But sometimes it can take a bit longer, especially if you submit your application during the holidays. So once your education has been approved, you will get a letter from the Swedish authorities saying that you can move on to the next step. So now this part is really important. You will need to learn the Swedish because everything from here, the test, the training, and even your work, they will all be in Swedish. But don't worry, you can start learning online while you are still in your home country because there are a lot of free resources and websites that can help you get started. So the test has been categorized into 2 parts, the theory and the practical. But you need to pass the theory first before you can do the practical test. And with this proficiency test, you are going to sign up with the University of Gothenburg. So I'll leave all the links related to this video in the description below. Now they've arranged a great opportunity to help you prepare for the Swedish proficiency test. You can join a program arranged by the Swedish Employment Service. If you are just starting out, you can just begin with the basics right here on YouTube. You'll find a lot of free videos that will help you get familiar with the language and the kind of content you will face in the test. But if you don't pass the first time, you'll get more chances to retake it within 5 attempts. And according to reviews, most people who prepare well and take their Swedish seriously usually pass without any problem. So once you've passed the language test, you are ready for the next step in your journey to work work in Sweden. So let's continue with step 3. The next thing you need to do is to take a short course about Swedish laws and healthcare regulations. And this part is really important because it has everything to do with the country's own healthcare rules, the policies, the regulations, binding the healthcare system. So working in Sweden, you need to understand how the system works, things like the patient's rights, workplace ethics, and what's expected from you as a healthcare professional. Right now, this course is being offered at Lund University and it's free of charge. So you can choose to take it either full-time or part-time depending on your schedule. But just keep in mind, the National Board of Health and Welfare sometimes changes who runs the course. So if you're watching this video maybe a year from now, you need to make sure to check their website for the latest updates. The course is taught in Swedish and sometimes it's also offered through Umeå University. So I'll leave the link in the description so you can check everything for yourself. And before you apply, you need to double check which university is offering it at that time. Once you finish with this course, you are one step closer to working in Sweden's healthcare system. So let's get on to step 4. That's your clinical training, or what we call your internship. So this is one of the most important parts of the whole process because it's where you actually get to apply your skills in real Swedish hospital or healthcare centers. So this internship usually lasts for 3 months, and during this time you work under supervision and your performance will be checked and assessed to make sure that you meet the Swedish standards. Once you finish successfully, you will get a feedback report that confirms your training. So it's important to know this. In Sweden, these internships are not paid, but in some other countries like Denmark or Iceland, they do pay. And it also depends on the region or municipality that you are working in. But if you ever need help or support during your clinical training because you're not being paid, you can reach out to the Public Employment Service in Sweden, and they can sometimes guide you or assist you with what you need during that period. So you need not to worry too much about that one. There is always help available if you know where to look. You will also need to find your own internship placement, but don't worry, it's not too difficult because Sweden really needs healthcare workers, like doctors, nurses. So there are usually plenty of opportunities available, especially since they don't have to pay trainees. So once you've completed your internship, you're almost at the finish line. Just one more step to go before you can officially work in Sweden. So getting on to our last step of the application process, that's applying for your license. Once you've completed your internship and received the good feedback, this is the final step. This time you will need to go back to Socialstyrelsen website to download the application form and fill it out, and then you attach these documents: copy of your biodata page of your passport, your Swedish language certificate, and a proof that you finished your 3 months training. So after that, you pay your application fee and you send everything to them. Either you're doing it by post or through the email address, but it should be in PDF file. So the processing of your application for a license currently takes within 2 to 4 weeks. And when your application is approved, you will officially get your Swedish license. And that means you can now work as a nurse, a doctor, or any other healthcare professional in Sweden. So now this is the question I guess asked a lot. Can I work while still waiting for my license? The answer is yes, but there are a few things that you need to know. So before you do that, you will need a permission from the Swedish immigration, and sometimes you might have to change your visa type before you start working. And until your license is approved, you can't call yourself a doctor or a nurse. But there is nothing to worry. You can still work in other healthcare jobs that don't require a license. So you can work as an assistant nurse, a dental nurse, or even in pharmacy roles. And these jobs are full-time and a great way to gain experience while you wait for your license. So now that you know all the 5 steps, this is what you can do while still waiting. So you visit the Socialstyrelsen website and read every bit of official information out there, because rules and requirements can change from time to time. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. So I'll do my best to reply and give out my best of help. And don't forget to like this video. Please subscribe to this channel if it's helpful. It really supports the channel and it helps me make more videos like this. So thanks so much for watching. I'm your Brani as always, and I will see you in the next one. Macro.